Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
Your joy is reward enough and sends me happily leaping on my way.
What? We've got Chris.
Look around you. We traveled through time. Oh, wait, I'm wrong.
So wrong. I'm Kia. Welcome to the show. If you just listen to those quotes, you'd have no idea what we're talking about. There's some kind of time traveling. No, it's Venom. We're talking about some Venom today. Yeah, the new movie is out. Is it out?
No, it'll be out soon. This is the last episode before the movie.
Great.
Starring Tom Hardy. It takes place in San Francisco, just like this comic book.
Just amazing.
Wow.
I still have not even watched the trailer for this movie. So fans write in after it comes out. Let us know if it was any good. Let us know if you like this Venom. We're reading Lethal Protector. It was Venom's first titular starring miniseries role. That's how you say that in the comic book, right? 1993, written by David Michelin, with art split between Mark Bagley and Ron Lim. And this is supposed to be one of the much loved Venom stories. The movie is taking a lot of inspiration from this and some other Venom story. And so we figured, why not check it out? And we should probably give ourselves a little bit of backstories for what's going on with Venom in the world of Spider-Man right now. He and Spider-Man have just kind of finished off their last big adventure and ended things with a little bit of a truce. Yeah.
So we covered the Venom's origin in Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Right.
Last summer in our episodes, and that was about 5 years ago in real life time. So there was
real lifetime.
I mean, it was 1988. So this book takes place in 93. So
okay.
I'm surprised that Venom took this long to get his own solo series.
Yeah.
But Chris, you were actually doing a rundown of how many books Venom had appeared in at this point.
So Venom comes back after that first story in 89, and then he comes back in 90, and he's basically just kind of the main villain where they'll have 2 or 3 issue arcs where Spider-Man has to fight him. Until 1992, when they create Carnage to be an even worse version of Venom. That's 361 to 363. And then he comes back again in 373 to 375. And at the end of that, Spider-Man and Venom are well, we're not so different. Let's team up, or at least have a truce where we won't fight each other anymore because Carnage is worse.
It's still such a weird truce, though, to me, because the idea is we're not going to... Venom, I know you kill people, and I know you're a bad guy, but I won't mess with you. We'll just have a truce. You can go straight off murdering people. It's fine, because there's a worse murderer out there that also you're not actively pursuing. So I don't know. Why did Spidey let him go?
He only murders bad people, Vince. That makes him okay.
Oh, okay. Does he have the same agreement with the Punisher?
I mean, he doesn't chase him around all the time, so I guess he sort of does.
Yeah. And, we see from the very beginning of Lethal Protector, Venom has gone to San Francisco. Don't know exactly why he's in San Francisco.
I mean, we find out later he's from there.
He's from there. So I guess, he's maybe getting back to his roots, figuring himself out. Sure. And at the very beginning, he's just not chasing bad guys down, but if he runs into bad guys, he's going to stop them, a purse snatcher, no, get out of here.
One of those 3 p.m. rape attempts that just happens in an alleyway
all the time. Yeah, bright daylight. Yeah.
Hey, those might happen. Those could be happening. But I do. Now I'm going to go into something goofy. Sorry, we're talking about real life rape. But I really don't like how Venom's drawn in these first few pages. I don't know if they're not used to drawing him, although it's been around for 5 years. But I can't tell where his eyes are focusing. In a way that I always know where Spider-Man's looking. Venom's eye lines look like he's always cheating out. The way you would, in theater where you don't look directly at somebody in a live stage play because you want to keep your face kind of face towards the audience. I can't see where his eye line is. And it was really bothering me from the beginning of this.
Here's the thing. Venom only looks good when his mouth is open and his tongue is hanging out all big like a fucking worm sticking out of his mouth. That is when Venom is at his best because you don't care about his eyes, Venom's eyes are here.
Yeah, and they don't care about his teeth. His number of teeth completely changes based on the panel.
Of course. This is we have to mention who's the Spawn guy who helped design him?
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane, very classic Todd McFarlane design. Teeth, just as many fucking teeth as you can.
Yeah.
That's how many Venom has.
But he has changed. Like, he's got more of an orca, like, whale design than he did originally, which I think, Chris, you commented on when we talked about Birth of Venom. Like, I think you said, and I hadn't really realized it, like, I like this design more than the original Venom design.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But the other thing that, like, Venom in this scene, he talks like the Tick when he talks to bad guys. He's like, "You're a purse snatcher, and I will thwart thee." And I'm like, "Come on, bro!" Like, Venom has a better vocabulary than Eddie Brock does. I feel.
I do like the way he keeps referring to like themselves as we. It's always like Venom and Eddie Brock together. Like they never kind of accept that it's just one thing. It's always like, yeah, me in this alien suit that I've got. It's we. And I like that. And it is like kind of goofy. Like, oh, we're being rude. Hi, we're Venom. Like
yeah, that is
that
weird.
kind of...
and that's what he says to the potential rape victim. He goes,
Right.
"Yes, I agree. Protecting innocence is satisfying indeed. Your joy is reward enough and sends me leaping happily on my way."
Yeah, it's like... that was your quote. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, like hearing Venom... Like, I can't imagine a voice where he would say that,
Yeah. Especially because all the cartoons and like video games, he's always like Donald Duck, like we are Venom. Like you can't imagine him having that like tick voice.
He's got like Dr. Phil or not Dr. Phil, Uncle Phil / the Shredder with like an extra like echo behind him.
Oh man!
Did Uncle Phil voice Kingpin? Right? I know he voiced Shredder in the Spider-Man cartoon. I think he voiced Kingpin.
I don't remember.
I think he might.
I think he was Optimus Primal. I remember that.
I love Uncle Phil.
I know. Yeah, Peter Cullen was the original Optimus Prime. That's a different guy.
Different
Optimus
guy.
Primal is a gorilla.
Yes.
Yes.
Beast Wars.
Beast Wars for sure. Anyways, we should probably get back to Venom. Poor Eddie Brock just tries to check into a hotel, and some cops are like, "Is that Eddie Brock?" Like they just
how did that happen?
I have no idea. It's like they see this random ass guy walking into a hotel, like, "Hey, is that Eddie Brock? He's a murderer? Yeah, let's go get him." And they bust into the hotel and try and get him.
I mean, Eddie Brock. I mean, Venom is well known at this point, and Eddie Brock is. And this kind of is bullshit, but I find out later that he's got Olympic level strength. Not even as Venom. Like he just got swole outside of being Venom.
He's a journalist, man. Of course he's swole.
So I was like, I see this super swole dude with a blonde mullet. It's probably Venom. Like
Brian Bosworth on the way to shoot the film Stone Cold. They're like, "Hey, are you Venom?"
Oh man. And so like then this thing is on the news of how like Venom like beat up a bunch of cops, and Spider-Man over in New York hears about all this, and he's like, "Oh shit! Well, I know I said I wasn't gonna like interfere in Venom's business, but I'm gonna go interfere in his business."
And Chris, you said literally it was weeks ago. It was the same month. Yeah. In the real.
Yeah.
In real time, like it was.
Yeah, they direct us to an issue that is still on. Like you could just go to the spinner rack and be like, "Oh, here it is."
Well, why would they direct you to an issue that you can't buy? That makes sense to me.
It's just so stupid. And also, I do have to take a little exception too. It's like, oh, Venom is famous. It's like, yeah, he's famous in New York as like an evil Spider-Man, but like, like Spider-Woman is from San Francisco, and they've had like a handful of other heroes. Daredevil lived there for a little while. But like, why, if you're on the West Coast, why would you expect to be like, oh yeah, it's Spider-Man? Like even Spider-Man, when he shows up later in the issue, they're like, are you Spider-Man? Like they're not sure.
Hey, I think that's that Spider-Man guy. So Venom runs into more trouble after all this. Like at this point, this is why I wasn't really sure why Venom was in San Francisco. He doesn't have a lot of agency in a lot of stuff that happens. Just things keep happening to him. He runs into some like vagrants that are in trouble with I don't know, a bunch of suits. They're like some mob guys. Not the mob.
It's a recurring theme, but it's dudes in suits with widow's peak.
Yeah, there you go.
There's going to be a lot of them, so let's keep them straight.
There are a lot of them. we got 3 leaders of dudes in suits who are just dudes in suits, and I had a hard time keeping them straight.
Yes.
These people work for
Oliver Treese, maybe.
Treese.
Yeah,
that
these
was the
guys
word.
are
Yeah.
these guys are hassling the homeless though, and Eddie Brock's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, stop hassling the homeless." And he tries to beat him up, and then Spider-Man's like, "Oh shit, Venom's there hassling the homeless. I gotta go beat up Venom."
And then he got there fast too. By the way, like instantly in San Francisco.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is a pre-9/11 world where he could just buy same-day plane tickets and go cross-country on a freelance photographer who's married to a model. I guess sometimes TV actress's salary.
Yeah, I mean he's got some pull, you know. He can do what he
Is
wants.
she on network TV? Is she making network money in the 90s?
I guess so, because she was on like Secret Hospital or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Based on this comic, all she does is just like stand at the window and wistfully look out, waiting for Peter to come home. So
Yeah, in workout clothes. So don't worry, she is objectified.
yeah, very objective.
This is exactly like how she was in that. Chris, we were just talking about What a Cartoon, that TV show that covered the Spider-Man cartoon, and her in that scene, she's also similarly just working out.
Yep.
That's what all Mary Jane does whenever she's on the phone.
Okay.
She's always working out.
Poor thing. So Venom like loses Spider-Man and goes down with these homeless people into their caves, and they get attacked by these robots, these diggers that work for Treese, and like it causes all these holes to appear, and they fall through the caves. We've fallen through time. But it's not time at all. Like I instantly was like, no, it's just like an old timey city of some sort.
They flew through time. That's what happened. There was a portal to time. Which
no, it didn't happen.
You know what? If I'm reading this first issue, I'm like, all right, where the fuck do we go from here? I'm excited. Venom has traveled through time. That's what this miniseries is going to be about. And then we get to issue 2, and it says, "We've fallen through time. See last issue for details." And I go, there's no fucking details in the last issue.
There's no details in the last issue. And then we did fall through time.
I picked up this issue for said details.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And even like I think one of the guys in the robot suit is like, "Oh, we fell through time. Oh, wait a minute, but there's homeless people here also, so we can't have fallen through time." And
yeah,
that's
he
how
just
we
gets
understand
confused for 10 seconds.
Like, what if they fell through time with you? Like,
there could be homeless people from the present day who fell into a time portal and ended up in the early 1900s. That's completely plausible.
Yeah. All of it's like your first thought. If your first thought was, "I have traveled through time," you lost that thread way too fast. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. So Eddie Brock, Venom helps clear out these robot things. You know, we didn't really spend a lot of time talking about Eddie Brock, Venom. I assume most people know who he is, but should we mention he's like, he's a journalist, and they go through it in the series a little bit later that he like got some big interview with some murderer, like some serial killer, and then Spider-Man caught the real killer, and so Eddie Brock was disgraced.
Yeah, Eddie Brock was disgraced because apparently his major source for a story was a liar. I don't know. Did Eddie Brock know his source was a liar, or did he also get similarly duped?
I
feel like he got
sloppy journalism.
Yeah, he probably could have.
I don't feel like sloppy journalism stops a person though today. Like that doesn't permanently disgrace a person. I feel like he should just double down, and then he'll show back up unannounced and acting like he's completely reformed 10 months later. It'll be fine.
He didn't. You know, Eddie Brock could have done a better job of spinning the story, but instead, go ahead.
Especially at the Daily Bugle, I feel like he could be like one of those moronic columnists who's like, "Women today are feminism has ruined them, and Spider-Man is the worst." And J. Jonah Jameson would be like, "Yeah, this is good."
Yeah, he should have gone working for J. Jonah. Yeah,
I really like. Speaking of Jonah Jameson, for just a sec, I want to take a break. I really like how Jameson has like evolved through Marvel Comics. He turned into a Bill O'Reilly figure over the last 10 years, and now like in the Spider-Man video game, he's just straight up Alex Jones. Like it's really funny, just like his like evolution. Like Jameson will evolve with the times forever to be like a terrible pundit, and I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I love when he like admits on the Spider-Man PS4 video game is great, by the way. We'll recommend that at some point. But
That's our recommendation of the week. Don't read this. Don't read Crisis. Go play
Is
Spider-Man.
it? I haven't played it, but I've seen so many pictures from the photo mode of that thing, and
It's
so
really
yeah, I
good.
recommend.
It's really good. Chris convinced me like by texting me like constantly over a weekend, and then I got it, and I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah. I'm so far behind. I just got Horizon Zero Dawn for like $12, and so I'm having a good time.
Spider-Man
with
will be $40 on Black Friday. I guarantee.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure. But anyway, J. Jonah Jameson is like, yes, I created the Scorpion costume, but let's not dwell on that. Matt Gargan is a criminal.
Yeah. So like, yeah, Venom probably could have done a bunch of like spinny pundity stuff, but instead he joined up with the Venom suit, which I think makes sense. Like Venom was also shunned and spurred by Spider-Man,
and they
right?
both hate Parker, which is fun.
Yeah.
Parker. Which I like it. I like it. I like the idea. I don't know how they're going to do it with the movie, but it doesn't really need to be happening. It's just Tom Hardy thinks he's a good journalist, and he's not a good journalist.
Yeah, I have no idea what this movie is going to be about. I should watch that trailer one day.
You should. What's that line he gives to like his girlfriend or whatever? He's like, "How do you work for a guy that does bad things all the time?"
But it's the weirdest accent. And like Jimmy Slate's in it. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a movie.
Right. I'll check it. I'll check out the trailer if I feel like it. For me, I feel like the work to like working up the effort to watch a trailer is sometimes harder than just like sitting down and watching a movie. You know,
well,
for 2 minutes of my damn time.
Yeah, the week we're recording this, the Captain Marvel trailer just hit.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and the Ralph Breaks the Internet trailer hits, the new one, which I haven't seen yet.
What's Ralph Breaks the Internet? Is that Wreck-It Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph
Wreck-It
2?
Ralph 2.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. And my trailer though that I'm happy with this year is the Shazam trailer. I think that's my favorite superhero trailer of the.
I don't think I watched that one.
It looks like Big, but with superheroes. It looks really fun.
Okay, I'm into it.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Venom.
Yeah, back to
You can tell that
Venom.
we're distracted.
Yeah, so this book is like fine, I guess. Like stuff happens, but it's so easy to get distracted by more interesting things. So that's
Venom beats up these robots, and then the community's like, "Well, you're still a monster. We're not going to let you chill and live down here. You need to GTFO."
Yeah.
But we'll have a vote.
Religious asshole who's also just like convincing everyone, like, nah, even the devil can pretend to be an angel to get what he wants. We can't let this guy in, and so they don't let him in.
Well, and so Eddie Brock's idea is like, well, I'll just beat up this bad guy, and then they'll have to love me, right? Which doesn't really solve that bald dude's problem. So I don't like it. Doesn't really like help his case at all. But okay.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker is like. And then Peter Parker's like, I'm going to go talk to Eddie Brock's dad, who happens to be in town. Mm-hmm. And so he rolls up to Eddie Brock's dad, and he's like, hey, I'm Peter Parker. I want to talk to you about Eddie Brock. And he gets his door slammed in his face. So he's like, you know what I'll do? I'll dress up as Spider-Man and ask the exact same question 5 minutes later. And no one will be the wiser.
Oh, man.
I mean, to be fair, why would you think it's the same guy? Like, I would be like, oh, so I guess you sent that guy Spider-Man to bother me.
I guess
listen,
that makes sense.
in my head, Peter Parker is the 50th guy to come knocking on his door because Eddie Brock is a fucking murderer and he's all over the news. I'm sure people want interviews with his parents, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they have like on an unsolved mystery show or something like that. It's like right next to an alien autopsy about like the Skrulls. It's like, and here's a murderer called Venom that could be right near where you live.
God, yeah, I want a fucking comic book about an unsolved mysteries type show that takes place in the Marvel universe and how they're making it and they're trying to get to the bottom of this stuff. Oh, that'd be a great
shit! That's a good pitch. That's going in the pitch bowl, right along with what do we have? Night Nurse House.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, yeah, so one of the guys in suits, the balder guy.
Yeah. So who's the other bro? Carlton Drake, is that the one? Well, there's three of them.
There's the guy with the personal grudge against him because he killed his son. That's the balder one.
That's Orwell something.
Oh yeah, he's the one who shows up at the end of issue 2. Yeah. He says, "Hey Venom, my name is Orwell Taylor. You killed my son, and we, the jury, are going to kill you."
But that's not
so
the jury that decided
No,
whether or not he stays
no.
in the town, which they refer to also as a jury in this issue. That's a
Well,
different.
Yeah,
That-
this
I mean,
is
they
like a
lit-
group of super suits called the jury, right?
Yes.
And so Venom fights them for a little while into issue 3, and then of course gets away. But these guys,
Which-
like, they were planned. They were like ready for him, right?
Yeah, which I will say right away, this book has a lot of problems, and one of the
Yeah.
biggest problems I have with it is like I'm reading like an edgy anti-hero book like Ghost Rider or Venom or Spawn. Like, okay, he murders a rapist in the first issue, and I'm like, okay, I get it. He's gonna murder people. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm on board for extreme stuff. He gets his ass kicked all the time.
Well, everybody comes at him with like sonic weapons. They're like, "Hey, we've read up on you. We know how to not get our asses kicked by you." And so they,
Yeah, it sucks. I'm like, okay, can Venom be cool for like 10 seconds?
it does like halfway through this thing. Well, okay, we'll get to it. But he's not going to be cool for a little while.
Yeah. Like the last 2 issues, I was like, this is what you should have been saving it for. So now people know his weaknesses and he overcomes them, blah, blah, blah. But every issue, people are shooting him with sonic weapons. And I'm like, this is getting ridiculous.
We do like issue 3. I feel like isn't even going for that anymore because it seems like most of the time is spent with Spider-Man, who now goes talking to Venom's mom. Eddie Brock's mom, right? And
not even the mom. Wasn't that like the housekeeper?
Oh, was it a housekeeper? I thought it was the mom.
Yeah, because the mom is dead.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was like it was all in like one page. It was like Eddie Brock's dad was like, close the door, and then she's like, Psst, Spider-Man. I'm a housekeeper. I can answer some questions for you.
Oh, okay. I missed that. So he like gets to the whole story about how the dad was like never proud of his son. And then after that whole disgraced journalism stuff came out, he was like, "Bah, you're terrible," and I'm never talking to you about that whole thing. And Spider-Man had a nice little line here. It's like not particularly poignant or anything, but he says, "Is that wise to have sympathy for a man whose sole purpose is to kill me?" And that for whatever reason that line stuck with me. I'm like, I'm glad you're thinking about these things, Spider-Man. I don't care if you find the answer, but I'm just glad you're saying out loud what you're thinking in like a nice way like that. There was something nice about that line. That's all.
It's a very weird story though, because like Spider-Man's also like, well, their point is valid that they're trying to kill Venom. I think he's talking about Orwell, and he's like, his point is valid. He did kill his son, and it's just kind of like laying on thick for children. Like, this is still a bad guy. Don't support him. Like, it just kind of is a weird turn of phrase.
It is like everything's a little off with this. So after all that, Carlton Drake, who is our third suit, he catches Venom because he is after Venom's children. It is some guy from the Life Foundation. At this point, I started to get a little bit confused because we have like a third person in 3 issues who is coming after Venom and succeeds in catching him. Does a good job. I don't remember how. Like, he just used sonic weapons just like everybody else, and he caught him, right?
Yeah,
he put him in a fire trap.
Yeah, because
that's right.
He thought he was going to go get Treese. He thought he was going to go get Treese, and Treese tricked him and sent him to go to this other guy, Carlton Drake, which is just another dude. I think it's partially Mark Bagley's art that just draws everybody with a widow's peak, but it's very confusing, and it's like there's too many fronts here. I would cut at least one of them, or have one resolved before you stopped another one. You started another one.
Yeah, this third guy in a suit I just called Peter Parker's dad because
he has
Peter Parker's face.
He looks like Richard Parker with like a goatee. Yep, that's accurate. We did miss, by the way, I wanted to go back to Venom's origin, that the reason he started even gotten into journalism is because of Watergate. He wanted to be a journalist just like Bob Woodward. So canonically, Bob Woodward created Venom. Because if there's an alternate universe where Nixon is still president, but Venom doesn't exist. So,
Whoa!
The Watchmen world.
Whoa!
Oh shit! So there's no. Yep, that's exactly right. I love it.
No Venom in there. Interesting. Well, the suit could still exist, just wouldn't have found Eddie Brock.
That's right.
Maybe. Perhaps Eddie Brock would have failed in some other point of life because he's just a failure, as he has been in every point and as he is in this comic.
Wow.
Venom, you suck. Anyways,
I
Venom.
do like this is my favorite issue of Bagley's art is the third issue. There's some really cool like transitions of his face coming on that I'm like, this is neat. It's still an original effect at this point. I mean, I know they've done it a few times, but it's like,
yeah, this would be a good time to just talk about Mark Bagley's art in general as well. I don't know, have we talked about him on the show before? I don't know that we have, but I've always really enjoyed his art, and yeah, he does really good like dynamic like fight scenes and everything. Venom's face always looks really great with that tongue hanging out, wonderful. And at this point, when we switch to issue 4, who takes over? It is Ron Lim.
Ron Lim.
Yeah,
Ron Lim has got to be a superstar. He's got to be in at least 4 or 5 of our issues now.
Yeah, we've talked about him a lot. And his art is fine. I always enjoy it, but compared to Mark Bagley's, it has like a slightly boxier feel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know exactly what it is, and there's nothing bad about it, but you can definitely see that difference between them. Like everything is a little.
Well, Bagley is more circles and triangles to me, and it's much more. His style is much more pronounced in Ultimate Spider-Man, where there's a lot. It just feels like everybody's like circles and triangles, and that's a kind of like it makes sense if you know Bagley's art, but
right. And like a very lanky Spider-Man that's always kind of posing in a way that's showing that he's very flexible. Mm-hmm. And whereas Ron Lim, I mean, we did his Silver Surfer issues with Thanos, and then Infinity Gauntlet. He's more of the like square chested. I actually think he's a better fit for Venom because Venom should be like a big dude. And so like, I mean, Bagley does draw him boxy, but he draws him kind of cartoony, which I kind of like Ron Lim's version, which is still a little cartoony, but in the like 90s edgy way.
I think I would like Ron Lim's Venom body with Bagley's Venom head. Like I feel like that would be the perfect combination of the two for me. It's my dream Venom. But no, it's really good stuff all around. So there's something about his, maybe it's just the inking as well, where it's a little bit lighter on the ink and like thinner lines and everything. Maybe just not as many lines throughout. So it gives everything a sort of, I don't know, almost a cleaner look, while still sort of that scratchy 90s-ish kind of feel to it. I don't know. I like them both. If I wasn't paying attention to it, I would probably just keep reading and not really notice because it doesn't... neither of them are super noticeable.
I mean, like, I probably wouldn't have noticed as a kid, except for the fact that the bad guys all in suits look radically different. So Carlton Drake looks a lot different between this issue and the previous issue. We're now in issue 4, by the way.
Does he?
Yeah, it's just like I was like, is that the same dude? And then I'm like, oh, art changed. Okay, Ron Lim time.
I see.
His Spider-Man's really good. His Spider-Man's really good though. I like his Spider-Man.
So this Carlton Drake character has kidnapped Venom because he's heard about Carnage. Carnage has happened. And he's like, wait a minute, this Venom thing can have kids? I gotta get me one of those. And so they're taking Venom's seed, rapidly maturing it, and then they're going to give it to like their own vetted security people and say, all right, you guys have Venom powers now. And they start testing it on cops, and they're like committing crimes and everything and getting out there. And so Spider-Man runs into one of these people. He runs into a Venom lady who's got like a kind of a fiery motif going on, even though there's no fire powers whatsoever. But like red hair, like pretty cool design. She's on the cover of that issue as well, and so I kind of thought like, whoa, is this a new Venom character that I've just somehow never heard of? Which it kind of is, but they never even name her, and she never shows up again.
I was going to say, how have you never heard of her? Didn't you play Spider-Man and Venom Separation Anxiety for the Super Nintendo?
Actually, it's Venom Spider-Man Separation Anxiety. Venom's
oh
name
my
goes
god!
first.
Oh Jesus Christ!
They were all bosses in that game.
Yeah,
were they? Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think in the Venom movie there's going to be more symbiotes. So,
Yeah, especially if they're taking their inspiration from this, that would make sense.
I do love.
Spoiler: by the end of this, we see a whole bunch more of them.
That's a great cliffhanger. That one's very glib to me. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm,
I want to read the script. Is like, okay, he wish he was dead when he runs into big problems next issue. Another symbiote? Nah. 5 of them. Check them out in 30 days. It's so great. It's great. It's like, fuck you. It's 5 of them, not just one.
5 of them. Yeah, like if Spider-Man follows this fiery-looking one back to the base, like they're gonna kill Venom, and this is my panel of the week. They've like decided we don't actually need Eddie Brock anymore, right? We have the Venom suit, and so they decide they're gonna kill Eddie Brock. And this first panel of issue 5 is just Eddie Brock lying on the ground, unconscious, but with his eyes open in such a way that just looks so strange to me. I don't know how to describe it. I just love this thing. Do you guys see the one I'm talking about?
I do.
Yes.
Did this stick with you guys much? It's just like, it's so funny to me, that facial expression with the mouth open.
It looks like there's almost like blood coming out. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's your panel of the week.
That's my panel of the week. It's just like funny to me. I love, sometimes my panel of the week isn't necessarily a good or a cool one. It's just like,
the one that's stuck
what the fuck is this? What is this page? You know?
I do actually like, and this is actually partially back in the previous issue, is that the Venom symbiote is like, I can't get past these stupid sound weapons. But you know who can? Eddie Brock. And he's swole. He's got Olympic level strength. Why don't I just send Eddie to do this? Which I don't know if I've ever seen the symbiote seed control. But I'm like, this symbiote's smart. And I kind of like it. Because, you know, like I was like, I thought that was actually a really cool moment. I was like, symbiote. Yeah. Yep, you're doing it.
Enjoyed it as well. Olympic level strength, that Eddie Brock.
It just seems dumb to me. It really does. I don't understand. Like, he's an Olympic caliber athlete without being a superhero. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess maybe the symbiote works like steroids, where it just allows him to work out like longer. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it's all to justify how the symbiote bonding with him makes him stronger than Spider-Man, which Spider-Man got a little stronger when he had the symbiote, but suddenly Eddie Brock is even stronger than, you know, a guy with spider powers.
Okay.
Which doesn't really make sense. They're like, oh, but he was pretty strong already, so it just multiplied how strong he was.
No, you know what? It's they're the same. They both have that same rage and that same anger, and so it like multiplies in the same direction rather than like having Spider-Man kind of keep it in check. It's like unleashed with Eddie Brock, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's my explanation. Don't worry, I'll write a miniseries that explains it all.
Why does Venom have spider powers when you think about it?
Because it's stolen it acquired the spider powers when it bonded with Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like, I like these things. I'm gonna keep webbing.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if Tom Hardy. We're gonna have to get back to you guys on that one.
Yeah, how's that gonna work? I don't really know, but anyway, they fight those 5 guys without names, and they're pretty lame. I mean, one of them is
they don't really do much. Yeah,
you know what
one
those
of them
5 guys should do? They should found a burger place.
Well, it's 3 guys, 2 girls, and a pizza place.
So yeah, they
Starring
beat up
Nathan
on all these
Fillion
other
and Ryan Reynolds. It'll be great.
oh my goodness. They beat up on all these other people. Spider-Man helps him get the Venom suit back. Oh yeah, at some point they like just completely take the Venom suit away. We haven't gotten into super detail about that, but yeah.
Naked Eddie Brock does beat up a lot of people, though.
Yeah, Naked Eddie Brock does more than Venom did in the first 4 issues of this thing.
True.
Actually, though, I don't know if we're actually. Where is my favorite moment? Yeah, issue 5. There's a full page splash where Spidey and Venom actually team up, and Spidey's like, I can't believe I've teamed up with Venom, and I actually was like, this is good. This is earned to me. This is my panel.
I enjoyed that.
I actually I was like, this is good. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, as much as it's such a flagrant like, look, we got to put Spider-Man in the first issue. Like, it's so blatant to put him in that first issue. He should be in like issue 3. I mean, if we're talking about like good plotting, like he has no business in the first issue. But if he's here, I do like that he kind of is like, oh yeah, Venom's not so bad compared to all these other guys.
Mm-hmm. And it is just like it's a fun kind of cheesy superhero story with like the hero teaming up with a villain to take out other people. Like I enjoyed reading this book, and I don't have a reason for exactly why. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And we're not even done yet, so let's keep going. Spider-Man helps him get the suit back, and then Venom knocks him out and vaporizes all the other symbiotes with the machines that they were using because he was watching.
He matures the symbiotes to the point of death. Like, he makes them old.
Yeah, and they like disintegrate. Yeah, good stuff. In issue 6, Venom goes and tries to kill that dude.
Can we stop on the cover for a second, though?
Yeah.
It's not their final battle, but it may be their greatest. This is going to be a great battle. Venom's going to be around for 25 more years. Battles aren't going to be as good, guys. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also, it says it just might be their greatest, which is, might be.
Yeah.
That's all we. Yeah.
And it's the chilling conclusion.
Opinions differ.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we also did on the very first cover, like in that little square that's in the corners. Spider-Man's like they're holding his head, like, oh no, I can't believe Venom has his own series now. Jeez. So Venom tries to kill that Treese guy, right? And Spider-Man's like, no, I gotta catch him, gotta make sure he doesn't kill. And there's like a moment where Venom says, oh, I need your help, Spider-Man, to like stop him. I'm not gonna kill him. And okay, great. And after he takes care of him, the Underground City takes him in. That whole jury from the homeless people, they're like, yeah, okay, you're not so bad. Come on, you can hang out with us. Oh, we never talked about how that Underground City was formed. The big earthquake. Yeah, earthquake of 1906, 1905.
Yeah, 1905, 1906 of San Francisco took a whole chunk of the town and just put it underground. And then they weren't even paying attention. They just started rebuilding the town and forgot about it.
Yeah, they just rebuilt on top of it.
Yeah, it's basically New York in Futurama with just the mutants.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't even stop to think about that. God damn it, this fucking shit.
So Kia, in your future Marvel book, are they going to revisit this town?
For sure. Definitely. I am more interested in how this town sunk to the bottom of the rest of the town without, like, none of the buildings fell over. They're all still there. Everything seems to be, like, in great condition.
Yeah.
Like, they've been doing work on this place.
Yeah, why was that kid riding, like, a turn-of-the-century horse at the end of the first issue? If he's just some homeless guy, just to confuse that person, he's like, oh, I traveled through time?
Yeah. Wait, that's the only reason. I also, did we ever actually see how you get down there without falling through a giant tunnel? Because I don't know how you get back out.
Yeah, there must be caves or something that lead down there.
We assume caves. Got it. There is a follow-up miniseries that deals with, I guess, Venom hanging out with these homeless people and helping them with their problems. Called, they plug it at the end of this thing. What's it called? Venom Funeral Pyre. Great. And he vows to protect the homeless people, while that religious guy says, you'll all be sorry. It's not going to be good. And that is the story. So, who's going to read the follow-up? Are you guys going to read Venom Funeral Pyre?
No, it's not by the original creative team of David Michelin.
Not at all. It is by completely different people. And I don't think I care about it at all. But hey, wait, Chris, weren't you saying that Venom Maximum Carnage also started, like, right after this?
Yes, it's like the month. I think it's the same month that the last issue of this comes out. Maximum Carnage starts.
Oh, I think I said Venom Maximum Carnage. I meant Spider-Man Maximum Carnage. But isn't Venom like involved in that, right?
Yes, he goes from San Francisco to New York in like the third issue of that like 20-part story.
Okay, all right.
It's only 14 parts, but yeah.
All right, I guess
I beat a kid for some Pogs for issue 3.
Whoa!
I beat him in a Pog tournament and took his issue 3.
Wow, that's the meanest thing I've ever heard of anybody.
And
doing.
I cheated. Sorry, Clint.
Holy shit! Hope he's listening.
That's a good issue. That's a good issue.
You know, Venom would murder you for this.
boy, anything else we got to mention about this thing? Chris, did you have a favorite panel?
I think it would probably be from the Bagley art. The last issue, I don't know if it changed inkers or it's just Ron Lim. It was like double booked because he would sometimes do 2 books a month. But the last issue's art, even from the rest of the series, gets a lot worse. I just looking through it, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
a lot of bad panels on here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's perfectly acceptable. I like Mark Bagley's art. He does get a little samey in terms of faces. And I don't think he's the perfect fit for a Venom book. Like I think you do want like John Romita Jr. or like someone who's gonna draw Venom like super buff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's okay. But yeah, it's not. This isn't the kind of book that even as a teen I wouldn't be like, oh, cool, radical, and like turn my baseball cap right side straight. I would be so shocked.
I don't know how you'd be reading this thing while you were riding your skateboard.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's possible, though. Vince, you got any final thoughts?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. It's fine. The whole book is just like, okay, that was fine. It wasn't like over the top terrible. It also just wasn't over the top great. So I'm curious as to why a movie would be based off of this story, but okay.
I mean, I guess San Francisco and fighting other symbiotes. Like, I guess it makes sense. I was texting Chris. I was like, it kind of had that vibe of like a lot of those like Spider-Man's like side miniseries to me. Like, there's a Ben Reilly one that's like trying to fill in the blanks where like Ben Reilly's out on his own, not in New York City, and I'm like, but Chris, you texted me like, well, that one was good though.
Yeah, I actually really like that, and that actually is J.R. Jr.
Yeah. So
but yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I do wish they create all these guys in suit villains. I wish Venom just wrecked like some mid to low level villain in the first issue.
Yeah, I wanted to see him kill one of those guys.
Oh, you're talking about like a Calendar Man level kind of character, right, or something?
Yeah, just like a Spider-Woman character, like that Turner B. Century guy that's like had the.
Oh man.
The like big old bicycle with like the one big wheel. Just have Venom eat that guy's brains.
Venom should eat more brains. He should like chomp people's heads right off.
He talks about it all the time too. He's a real tease about it.
See, I was thinking like it should be a little more like it was kind of coming up close to the area of like a Garth Ennis Punisher, and obviously it's nowhere near that level, but like. Just put him in that kind of book, and I'll be like satisfied. Yeah. If you like Garth Ennis basically write the Punisher book, but change it to Venom, I'd be on board.
Did Garth Ennis ever write a Venom book? I think that'd be a great fit.
That would be cool, and I think that would take the like tick elements we noticed and like turn those up to like 15 if Garth Ennis was writing.
Yep. Yeah, Venom is a character that needs to be turned up to 15 because that's when he's at his best for sure.
Yep.
Let's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay, great. I think we should move on because we still have to cover Crisis on Infinite Earths. Woo! We are so close to the end. We are at issue number 11, and y'all, this issue was good. Yeah,
that's impossible. That's impossible, Kia.
No, listen. Stuff happened, and it actually focused on characters and helped them sort of explain to us how it was happening. Like, holy shit. What happened in this issue? All the worlds have converged into one, and that's the only thing this issue was about. What? That was amazing. It starts with Superman.
It tried to turn at the end. Superman. It was like,
Yeah, you're right. For a little while, we got some bullshit about the demon Etrigan and Amethyst and Gemworld and Dr. Occult, who looks just like Dick Tracy. And I'm like, what? What does any of this have to do with anything? And then it was gone. And I'm like, okay, great. We're back to everything. All right, cool. But yeah, this was all about how all the worlds have converged. And people are just like out of time. They don't understand. Like some people remember basically everyone who was there for that last battle at the dawn of time in the last issue remembers.
This is actually
but
really
everyone
good, though,
else is just like, yeah, this is the world.
But it's focused on everyone else. Like every single other issue of this book has been. It's like, let's just start with Old Man Clark Kent. And he wakes up.
Yeah.
And he's like, where the hell is Lois? Guess she already went to work. I'll go into work. And he goes into his office. And then Perry White's like, get the fuck out. That's my office. Who are you? And then another Clark Kent goes up and he's like, that's my uncle Clark Kent that looks just like me, but he's old. And you're like, this is nice. It's focused. It's like centered around like one person discovering the whole world and the whole impact of the changes.
Like it feels like it's written by a completely different person. Like it's great.
Yeah. And it does a really good job for being like a subplot and it's a little longer than like a modern book, but for just having like a series of subplots, you do feel for like Superman of Earth 2 and Huntress and Robin of Earth 2, especially. Like those are the ones where I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, that Huntress and Robin moment in particular, where they're just like, happened to you too? Like, man, nobody knows me. No one knows who the fuck I am. What is this? And I thought that was really great. Like it did a great job of in a lot of the other issues they would just like cut to this person noticing it and cut to that person noticing it and then cut to this person noticing it, and it spent so long with Superman that it was like, okay, I really like feel like I understand everything now, and it just touched on the other characters just enough to get us to like feel for that aspect of it without hammering it or making it feel too repetitive or anything.
Yeah, because they give like enough time to like Wonder Woman, but you're like, well, of course Green Lantern probably feels this way, and of course Blue Devil probably feels this way too. But we don't need to dwell on Blue Devil or give him a whole panel of service. And that doesn't like add any new information. I think that's a very good point, Kia. Like we got everything out of Superman's whole journey, and then we see like, oh, what happened to Wonder Woman, and then like Huntress and Dick Grayson, old Dick Grayson, have like a different twist on it. And so we see that too, but we don't just see the same scene 15 times.
Right.
Like Huntress is in the weird position where basically like she doesn't exist because her dad is like 30 now, instead of aging at like a regular person, marrying Catwoman, having a daughter. Instead, he's like, oh, I'm the same age as you somehow.
Mm-hmm. And they do the whole point of Crisis on Infinite Earth is to clean everything up so that comic books kind of make a little bit more sense. And Harbinger, who has her powers back, she gathers everyone together and they're like, hey, how'd you get your powers back? She said, listen, shit is all fucked up because of the way these worlds converged, and nothing is going to make sense. There's going to be a lot of paradoxes, but this is the way it is now, and just deal with it. And I'm like, yeah. As a comic book reader, I'm like, I can accept this. Thank you for just flat out saying it bluntly, because that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of talking like straight to the reader. Like Power Girl is like, wait, how come I have an identity? Shouldn't I not exist too? And he's like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, because I've been through the New 52 Flashpoint, and I've been through, I guess, Rebirth now, and it's like, where is Batman's history? What happened? We don't fucking know. We'll decide. We'll tell you later what mattered and what didn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
what's real.
And Batman's history is basically like, look, all that stuff happened, but it was all like 5 years ago. And you're like, wait, what?
What about this? But this is even more like explicit though. Like to the point of me being cynical, they're like, we don't know. We'll tell you later. We'll figure it out later.
Look, it's already formed. The big thing is that Batman was made because somebody shot his parents. Superman was made because somebody shot a rocket into space. All that happened so that they're like 30 years old now. They weren't in World War II. None of that happened.
But he's the only Kryptonian. Yeah. What about Power Girl? Look, just shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Just shut up.
But I am Power Girl. Can you tell me how I exist? Shut the fuck up, please.
Yeah. I love to Wonder Girl, soon to be Donna Troy or Troya, is like, wait a minute, if Wonder Woman wasn't there, how do I still exist? And like, look, I don't know. Teen Titans comics are going to try to figure this out for like 15 years. So figure it out.
But this is the best way. It's like, now you can go read everybody else's books to figure out how they each individually process this. And I'm fine with that. Like this is the most like, this is the event comic. It's like, we present a scenario and we see it through Superman's eyes. Now go off in your other books and you can see how it is through Wildcat's eyes. I don't care. That makes sense to me though.
Yeah,
that.
there was a little while when they were up in space with like Adam Strange and Animal Man and a few other folks up there. I don't remember, but I was like, okay, all right. I guess I can accept this little aside so far. Like they just sort of saw it from a little bit more of like a from outer space thing where they could see everything a little bit better, right? We also get like the flashes where there's that nice scene where they get confirmation that no other Earths exist anymore because they go through the whole like super treadmill thing to see all the other worlds.
I love that it's a treadmill. That still cracks me up.
Oh man,
I liked it when they all report in, like the people from what is it, Earth X or Earth Z or whatever, the one where the Germans won World War II. They're like, yeah, we can't get back through either. Like everybody has their own like portal that they know. They're like, yeah, this is a regular portal between Earths.
Yeah, I can't get back to my world. What's going on, y'all?
I also really like that they're like
they have to explain Harbinger's like, yeah, you guys fought in World War II, and they're like, yeah, but that was but we lost. And like, no, the Allies won.
I really like also because they're like, well, pretty much everything was the same until World War II, and then that's where all the timelines diverge. And that's because of comic publishing history, and I get that. But also I'm like, yeah, World War II was so fucked up that it like tore the multiverse, and now we pulled it back together. I kind of like that. I think that's a really silly idea, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm like really excited to see where this last issue takes us because Harbinger says,
I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah, the last 2 pages does have kind of a silly twist that's setting up what looks like a big fight, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. What twist? What fight are you talking about?
They're fighting the Anti-Monitor. It turned into like
the last
spacey
2 pages. They're
that's right, because we see like Superman. Old man Superman is having a really hard time dealing with all this. He's just like, oh, my Lois is gone. This isn't even my world. Like, he's like having fits of like depression, like flying off by himself. Regular Superman tries to catch him, and they see Anti-Monitor out in space, and they got to get him.
You know what would make that scene more effective, though? If you had actually seen his Lois at any other point in the last 10 issues.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Like people's major plot lines seem to show up and arrive and be resolved within the issue that it happens, or sometimes even within the page. Like I'm like, it's like if we'd been following Old Man Superman this whole time and not like once in issue 2 and then like once in like another different issue, I would feel more sympathy for this. It just seems to come out of nowhere, and that's what this book's problem to me is. It's like stuff that just comes out of nowhere still. But this one was a good one.
It is weird too. I mean, I guess it's just like it's not really them, but like when Dick Grayson and Helena or however you say her name, Wayne, when they're like, yeah, we were all depressed. We were at like the Wayne family, memorial, and she's all sad because there's no grave for Bruce Wayne. It's like, yeah, Batman, you could have like gone and talked to these people and be like, oh yeah, like we'll help you, like that would be the neighborly thing to do. I know Dick Grayson is Nightwing now, but you could still be like, oh yeah, we'll like find a job for you and like an identity or something. Instead, they're like, yeah, we had to follow a lead, and so we had to talk to Lex Luthor, so we were busy.
Oh yeah,
I don't know you.
Yeah. They did like discover that the villains don't remember any of this stuff. So like, yeah, Lex Luthor doesn't know what's going on.
And I like how they call them the villains, but it is again to the fact that the readers like villains don't know this. Some of the heroes may. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, if you were the star or a supporting character in a comic, you might understand it. But if you're the antagonist in a comic, no way.
Mm-hmm. We also did get a very brief scene with Cave Carson, who had his own series again very recently. Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye or something like that from DC. I was pretty excited to read that, and I never actually did. Did you guys read that or hear about it or anything?
Nope.
No?
Oh.
Well, glad I brought it up. All right, time to wrap up this episode. Next time we are finishing Crisis with issue 12. It's going to be a double-sized issue. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know you don't have high hopes, but after this one, I'm pretty excited. And then we are going to start our next long read that we're doing. We are going to just follow up DC's first big event with Marvel's first big event. We're going to jump into Secret Wars from 1984. And this was written by Jim Shooter, art by Mike Zeck and
Mike
Boyd
Zeck.
Lake. Yeah. Really mainly created to sell toys. So I'm excited. We'll see how this goes. So yeah, next time join us for Crisis 12 and Secret Wars 1. And I think that's everything we have to cover, right? Vince, Chris, you guys have anything else? Chris, how's your Stupid Minds doing?
Well, we just had an episode called The Uninvited. It was set on a boat. I would also recommend, if you want more horror boat action like The Uninvited, to check out our very special episode, Ghost Ship, from a few weeks ago.
I fucking love boats. Vince, you got anything going on?
I've got nothing going on. Nothing going on in the slightest.
You got a kid?
I have a kid, and I have another kid on the way. And my wife is beautiful, and she's amazing. But
and Spider-Man and PS4.
Spider-Man PS4. That's
Spider-Man
our logo.
PS4.
It's so good. I played my son had a friend come over, and I was like, "Cool, y'all gonna play with each other and not be in my hair? I'm gonna play Spider-Man for 5 hours." It was the best day. It was so good.
Great. I got nothing going on except for my Olympic level strength. So
you got Horizon Zero Dawn. There's some bows and arrows in that.
I do. Yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah, good stuff. That's all I got.
I think Red Dead's coming out
stealthier
soon.
than I expected it to be.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, if it's stealthy, I'm not gonna like it.
I mean, not majorly. You don't have to play it stealthy, but I'm just like, oh, I wasn't really expecting it to be like as stealthy. Like, it's just like crouch in the tall grass as you shoot at people instead of just like running up and shooting at them.
Nice.
Good stuff.
I do like that.
Anyways, join us next time for some of my friends play PS4 games. For Vince, Chris, and myself, Kia, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.